Well, hello everyone. Welcome in. This is your girl Audrey Codner from ASVAB Tutoring. Just here celebrating a little bit. Definitely had a long day, but we are here. So glad that you are here. So I'm glad that I'm here. Now, what we're going to be working on today is simple interest. Yes, God is good. Hello, how are you? Thank you, everyone, coming in and joining in. All right. Not sure what my cat's planning on doing, so hopefully she's going to be like, I'm just going to sit right here and chill, mama. So if we all of a sudden get a cat jump in our lap, you know what's going to happen. Okay. Nothing bad, everyone. All right, so simple interest. Oh, nope. I know, I love you, but mama's got to work. Okay, I'll leave the light on for you. There you go. Okay, so simple interest. So the formula is simply this. In order for us to figure out the interest that is going to be earned, we need to multiply the principal, which is basically your starting amount. You need to know your rate as a true decimal. So that means it's no longer going to be inside the percent. And then your time is always based out of years. This is what gets a lot of people. All right. So I'm going to talk about a couple of the pigeonholes that kind of helps in there. And hopefully I can smooth some stuff out. So if we're looking at the first one, so it says how much, slide over so you can see it. So how much interest is earned on a principal of $18.62 invested at an interest rate of 6% for 4 years. Now, I know someone yesterday asked for word problems, and here you go. So first thing, I like to either highlight or underline what are the things that's important. One, they're telling me the principal is $18.62. Then they're telling me the interest rate is at 6%, and they want to know what's going on in 4 years. So with that information, we're going to go right to the formula. So the I is my interest. That's what we're looking for. We have our P, which is our principal, times our rate, times the time in years. So we have $18.62. That's my principal. And then I'm going to multiply that by my rate. Now, the rate is 6%. So if I want to take it out of 6%, I can either divide by 100 because we're thinking about 100%, or I can simply move from the percent sign, move it over 2 places to the left. So when I do that, I have 0.06. So if you think about it, what does 6 cents out of a dollar look like as a decimal? It's going to be 0.06. Then we're going to times that by 4 because they want to know what's going to happen in 4 years. Okay, simple, easy setup. Okay, we're just basically dealing with the multiplication. So now, if we want, just in case, because this, I've seen a couple of these in the ASVAB test and also in the TEAS test, believe it or not. I didn't see too many of these in GED, but I know they're in there as well. So when you have your 0.06 and you're multiplying that by 4, I like to do these because it seems a lot easier. Okay? When it's multiplication, it doesn't matter if you multiply the first 2, if you multiply the last 2, or you multiply the 2 on the ends. Okay? So if we think about it with our long division or multiplication, we have our 0.06, and that's being multiplied by 4. Okay? Unfortunately, I have to use an X. Yeah. Okay, so we have 6 times 4, that gives me 24. So I have my 4 carry my 2. So 4 times 0 gives me 0 plus the 2, so the 2 comes down. And then 4 times 0 will give me 0. So since our 0.06 or our 600ths is actually 2 decimal places, and the 4 doesn't have any decimal places, that means my answer needs to have 2 decimal places. So if I'm starting here on the end, right behind the 4, and I go 1, 2, so that means I have 0.24 or 0.24 hundredths. Now I'm going to take that and multiply by 18.62. Hey, Robert, how are you? Okay. Why the 1? Okay. So now you have your 18.62, because Janice, I'm just about to do that too. 0.24. So now I have to take my answer of this, which was my 0.24. And now I'm going to multiply that with the 18 hundredths. All right. And then we'll figure out what our interest is. So now, I don't know about you, but I kind of old school it. So I'm taking my 4 and I'm distributing to all the terms, all the digits. So 4 times 2, that gives me 8. 4 times 6 gives me 24. So I bring down the 4 and I add the 2. 4 times 8 gives me 32. 32 plus 2 gives me 34. So I carry the 3, bring down the 4. 4 times 1 gives me 4, plus 3 gives me 7. All right. So again, this is 2 decimal places. This is 2 decimal places. So now, since I'm starting with the 2's in the 10th spot, that means the answer that I get should also be in the 10th spot. So 2 times 4 gives me 4. 2 times 6 gives me 12, so I bring down the 2 and carry the 1. 2 times 8 gives me 16, plus 1 gives me 17, and carry the 1. And 2 times 1 gives me 2, plus 1 gives me 3. All right. So now we're basically adding. If you want to put a 0 here as a placeholder, enjoy. Do it. Okay? But no matter what, you're still going to have your first 8. 4 plus 4, that gives me 8. 4 plus 2, that gives me 6. 7 plus 7, that gives me 14. So 1 carry the 1. 4 carry the 1. And 3 plus 1 gives me 4. So as I mentioned, we have 2 decimal places. We have 2 decimal places. So that means my answer should have 4 decimal places. So if I'm starting here on the end, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So my answer should be at 4.4688. Okay? But does this make sense? We're talking about the interest rate. Okay? So they want to know how much interest. So since we're talking about moolah, the money, we're not having it at 4 decimal places. So that means our I is going to be approximately, because we need to round. So approximately $4, approximately, because we need to round. So approximately $4.40 Since this is 5 and above, I'm going to give it a shove. So that will be 47 cents. I know, that was a lot for one problem. Okay. Yes. Okay, good. Nice, Robert. Good job. I'm doing all right. I'm so glad that it's not winter because they decided, I don't know, the city has been trying to put in like a new water main or something in. So one of our lovelies decided to accidentally hit the gas line. And of course, the gas line was connected to whose house? Mine. So I don't have any gas in my house, which is fine. But then they told me I had to stay in my house, and I've been dealing with fumes most of the day. Yay. Hey, Danny, how are you? Thanks for pushing the live. I appreciate it. No, it's all right. It's life. It's life. That's the way my life has been lifing. So, but I come bearing gifts of joy. All right. So, I didn't want to tape the next one because I didn't know how much room I was going to need. So, you know, we used to struggle with this so bad as a team, but this is so simple. Yeah, exactly. But see, I always feel like the way the stuff was presented to us as kids, it was just like, do it or don't. You know, like, do it or don't be successful in life. You're like, dude, like, I want to be successful in life. And it's almost like threatening. But then as you get older, when you actually have time for it to marinate and you have time to be like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. Or, oh, that makes sense because this plus this equals that. So, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, it's all right, Danny. It's all right. But we are here. All of a sudden, I'm seeing a blank screen. Why is that? Sometimes TikTok does weird things. I'm like, I'll look on my laptop and all of a sudden it's like completely black. And I'm like, why? Why? I don't know. But anywho. Chat with one of my students today about how important it is to understand interest. Yes, it really is. It really is. And especially if they're about to go into college, I don't know. A lot of credit card companies like prey off of the freshmen because as soon as they get on campus, all you see is a whole bunch of like credit card places. And the kids are like, ooh, free money. Or like, ooh, if I sign up for this credit card, I get a really cool t-shirt. And you don't realize that t-shirt has caused so much problem with your credit interest for the rest of your life. Your credit score. All for a t-shirt that said Power 99 FM. You know? See? I know. That's what I'm telling you. They all prey on it. So that's why we teach some of these things, okay? So for the next one, how much interest is earned on a principal of $846.81 invested at an interest rate of 5% for 2 years, okay? So again, we're talking about the principal, and they gave us the amount. We're talking about the interest rate, and they gave us a percentage, and they gave this to us in years. So again, we have our lovely formula. We're just finding interest. That's my I. So we have our principal, which is $846.81. And that's being multiplied by our rate, which is at 5%. Think of 5% as 5 cents. So that will be 0.05. 50%, that's 50 cents. and then you multiply it by the number of years, which in this case is 2. All right. So now, if we want to, we can multiply our basically 5 cents or 0.05 or 5 hundredths times 2. So I like to put the 5 hundredths. We're timesing it by 2. So now you have 5 times 2 gives me 10. Carry the 1. That'll give me my 1 back, because 2 times 0 gives me 0 plus 1 is 1. And then 2 times 0 is 0. And since this is 2 decimal places, that means my answer needs to be 2 decimal places, because we do not have a decimal with the 2. So if I move it over 1, 2, so basically 2 nickels gives me 1 dime. So we have $846.81 being multiplied by my 10 cents, my 0.10. So here's one way. Yes, we can do the multiplication like we did up top. All right, so if we don't, there's another way, since we're basically dealing with the base of 10 here. So since it's 10 cents, that means I can actually move this, because it's going to give me my 1, my 0. So I'm going to move this over 1 decimal place. So we're looking at $84, right? And I know we have that 0.681. But if we're talking about money, this is going to be equivalent to $84.68. Now, if you do not believe me, you can take your 846.81, which is 2 decimal places, and then multiply that by your basically 10 cents, which is also 2 decimal places. We know when we distribute the 1 to when we distribute the 0 to everything, it's just going to give me 0. But now if I go 1 times everything, that's going to give me a 1, an 8, a 6, a 4, and an 8. So now we had 2 decimal places here, 2 decimal places here, so that gives me 4 decimal places. Starting on the end, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would give me $84 and rounded 68 cents. Okay, you don't have to do it twice, but the reason why I did it down here, I know I cringe every time I do this, but you understand that that's multiplication. But every time I do it this way, I see that there was a short way, but I also show you this way just in case there's some people that like to do it a little bit longer. All right. Okay. Do I do SAT review? Yes, I do. Actually, I was just on a call with someone that does SAT. Are you taking it? When are you taking it? Not sure? Okay. All right. Now, August? Okay. All right. So if anything, you can DM me and take a look. Let's get these wrong when I do them by myself. Is it because Chaz? What's up? All right. Is it because when you do it by yourself, you forget about the decimal places? Could that be it? Because sometimes that throws people off. Sir Eagle, how are you? It's always because of jazz. Probably. Okay. So as long as we keep doing these, look at it, basic steps. Again, simple interest, those are one of those high percentages or high point type of problems. Okay, even though the process is simple because you're multiplying, and maybe because when you try to multiply from left to right, and then you're dealing with a large number, and then you're taking that large number and you're trying to double it, that might throw it off. So what I like to do is I like to take two of the smaller numbers since I'm multiply them, and then tackle the larger number. So that might help a little bit because you won't be so overwhelmed with these numbers are just getting huge, So at least you can tackle it with multiply the two smaller numbers, get an answer, and then tackle it with the larger one. Okay, that might help a little bit. Okay, all right. Now, the other part that gets people is when they start varying their years. Please make sure you just take a moment to read it. There was one. So if they, trying to find it. I got like a whole little listing of things here. How much interest? We got that. No, that's 7 years. I had it in weeks. Oh, okay. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to zoom into this because I finally tried to make the problems a lot smaller so it will actually work for us. It would be kind of nice if I got it a lot straighter. just saying, All right. Okay. So zooming in, raising up. So we have $9,800 is invested into an account that pays 2.3% simple interest for 100 weeks. Determine the total value of the account. All right. So as you're tackling this, what is different compared to all the other ones? What's different? Weeks. Yes, Janice. Weeks. Now, when we're doing simple interest, remember, it's all based out of years. Your time has to be based out of years. So since they have it in weeks, we need to figure out how many years, or what would that be represented as a year. So let's think about it. Again, we have our starting, we have our principal, which is that $9,800. They're telling us our rate, which is 2.3%, and they gave us our time, but this time it's in weeks. Yes, so you want to convert to years. Now here's something that we don't have to get too crazy about. So let's set it up. Okay, we're looking at our interest. We have our $9,800. That's our principal. Our rate, now there's already a decimal there, but we still have to get it out of this percent form. So we still have to move it 2 places to the left. So we have 0.023. Okay. Even though that already had a percent sign and you got a decimal, don't just say, oh, it's 2.3. No. Okay, you still have to either divide it by 100 or just simply move it 2 places to the left. Now, this part is when it gets tricky. If it has to be based out of years? Stupid question, don't mean to insult, but how many weeks are in a year? Like, how many weeks are in a year? Okay, Omar said 52. Thank you. Okay, do we agree? Danny, good, 52. All right, so we have 52 weeks in a year. But if they're talking about 100 weeks, couldn't we, couldn't we, Pog? You all right? Couldn't we take this 100 and divide it by our 52? Okay, so if we take that 100 and divide by the 52, that will give us our equivalence of 100 weeks for a year. And we know it's going to be a little over, but not quite 2 years. It's not exactly 2 years. Okay. So if anything, this is just me. I would leave it unless I have to make changes. So now this is going to be one of those type of problems that, yeah, calculator would be oh so nice. So when you put this in, and this is the part that gets a lot of people besides this, when you put this in your calculator, so you have your 9800, oops, a little too crazy with it. Then you have your 0.023, is that what it was? Yep. But for here, I'm still going to put my parenthesis. I'm going to type in my 100 divided by 52 and close that parenthesis. So we got $433.46. Did we answer the question? So I'm seeing yes, yes, no, yeah. Add that to the 2800. No, you have to add it to the, it's not 2800, 9800. No, you have to add it to the 9800. Okay. Now let's take a look. What told us that? What told us that is our statement, which is really acting as a question. It says, determine the total value of the account. What we found was the interest. Okay, that's what we found. But they want to know the total value of the account. So if we started off with $9,800 and through earning $433.46 in interest, we are going to add, let's see if we can do this one, that 9,800 with that interest, okay? Because they ask the total value of that account. So that means I have my 46, I have my 3, my 12, carry the 1, and that'll be a 10. So we're looking at $10,233.46. Okay. Pog, while you're asking, 100 divided by 48? When do I multiply time by the rate? Oh, you're thinking about when it's being compounded. Okay. The one that you are thinking of, and please don't call me sweetheart. Yeah. All right, so there's 52 weeks in a year. Because remember, there is an extra week in January, and January, March. When's there an extra week? January, March, October, July? There's another extra week somewhere. There's like 4 extra weeks in months. Okay. Yes. Okay. So if you're looking at compound interest, that will be, you got your y equals your a. Now it'll be your growth. This is when you do your rate divided by the number of times it's happening. And then you raise it by the number of times it's happening times your time. So like if they say compounded quarterly, that means your n is going to be a 4. If it says compounded daily, your n is going to be 365 because that's how much time is in a year. So it's like how many times is actually happening in a year. And then your t, your time, is always affiliated with years. So if they say this is going to happen in 13 months, well, then you know it's a year point something. Okay? All right. Okay. Let's try another one. We can give this one a try. Has anyone noticed something different on my live? Notice that my books are now on TikTok Shop? What? Hopefully it is showing that. If not, I'm going to be like, dude, I'm not staying up another night just trying to do this TikTok Shop thing. The struggle was real last night. It was like real. Okay. Well, thanks. I know they finally let me in. Oh, they have no idea. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Okay. Yay. So that means I can go to bed at a decent hour tonight. Yay. All right. Struggle's real when you're trying to put us. But if we're not using a calculator, would we divide? Yes. If you're not using a calculator, Jewel, yes, I would divide the 100 and the 52. I would definitely do that. When you do it by the month, don't you have to divide? Yes, you do. Yep. Yeah, so that's what Jewel was saying. So I was saying for a different thing, Janice. So we are going to talk about this later on, but I think he was trying to do something with annuities. So that's why that was different. So yeah, for simple interest, yes, you are going to be doing some division. All right, so $6,700 was invested into a simple interest account. After 3 years, the total value is $7,162.30. Determine the interest rate. So now we're going to do a little bit of manipulating. Okay? So we know that our equation is our I, and then we have our principal times our rate times the time. They tell us a couple things. They told us that $6,200 was invested, so that's our P. They told us the years, which is 3 years, but this time they told us the total value. Okay? They told us the total value. But we're looking for the interest rate. There we go, Pog. Look at you. So smart. Right? So we have the total value. So we need to take a look at what the interest is. And I know a lot of people will initially take the $7,162.30 and plug it in for the I. Because that's the total value. So if we want, let me shrink down a little bit. If we want to find that interest, we got to take our $7,162.30 and we need to subtract that with the $6,700 because that is going to tell us what's left over. It will tell us what our interest would be. Okay. So we have our 0. 3 minus 0 gives me 3. So we got our 30 cents. Okay. 2 minus 0, that'll give us 2. 6 minus 0 gives us 6. Now 1 minus 7, tough to do. So let me borrow from the 7. Make that into a 6. And now this 1 is 11. 11 minus 7, that will give me 4. Okay. So we have $462.30. That is the interest that we occurred. So 4, 6, 2, 30. We know our principal was $6,700. The rate is what we're looking for, and the time they told us is 3. True. You can get so many answers. That's true. But see, that's the one thing about math. It always depends on how you get in there. Depends on how you look at it. So don't hate it because you're surrounded by it all the time. Okay, even having a discussion or making the decision how you want to have your coffee, right? That is math, believe it or not. Okay, looking at ratios and everything. So now let's combine or multiply the 6,700 times 3. So when we do this, we have our 0, we have our 0. 7 times 3 gives me 21, so that's 1 carry the 2. 3 times 6 gives me 18 plus 2. Give us our nice little 20. So 20,100, and that's being multiplied by R. Marry the process, divorce the results. I know. Yeah, I already divorced the results. There it is, Michael. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, dividing both sides. 20,100. because I know it's tough. It's tough. There's so many steps. There's so many ways of getting the same answer. So I know this one is kind of a bit cheeky for us to do the whole division. But when you're doing all kinds of math, I get it. And plus how it was presented to you, it's really not all that kosher either. So I'm going to be truthful. I know for a fact that when you see numbers like this, usually on the GED, they're not going to have so much intensive with the decimals. They usually do nice round numbers. But if I do my division, I get a rate of 2.3. Yup, Lynette, I have a TikTok shop. Finally, I don't know if I officially got in, but I figured out a way to get in. So, did that last night. Well, actually early this morning. So, yeah. Yay. All right, Danny, have a good night. Yes, we're going to have a short night tonight or short-ish night tonight. Oh, thank you, Janice. I appreciate you. Okay. So, that is my R. Yep. All we needed to figure out was my R, my interest rate, and that was it. Yeah. So simple interest, if you figure out, and if they even give you the Q of simple interest, that's all you're basically doing. Okay. You got your principal times your rate times your time. You can manipulate it any which way you want. If they say they already giving you a total value, you have to subtract it by the principal. Whatever that total value is, subtracted by the principal, because this is going to be your interest rate. All right. Question. Accidentally multiplied by 3. Oh, at the end? Okay. Yeah, so that's how we got our 20,100 when we just multiplied the 6,700 by the 3. Okay. You're very enlightened. Oh, good. Good night, Jewel. Have a good one. Welcome back. You can always come back. So, I mean, right now, I feel like I'm going to be beating close to a dead horse. However, let's see what we got right here. Okay, let's do one more, because I know Michael usually says that. One more. Oh, thank you for the hand. Who's that? Janice. Girl. Save your change, baby. I appreciate you. All right. And I know today was the first day for the summer math prep for GED and ASVAB and TEAS test. I had one person. A couple other people came a little bit way later, but that's okay. It's okay. Life comes in. But I thought it was pretty good. We actually walked through a lot of good stuff. And if you are interested in signing up, I am still taking people. Okay? I'm still taking a couple people. We meet twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. Yeah, and TikTok doesn't like me showing the screen. But if you want more information, it is in my website. You can just click on the link in my profile. I know it's up there. And then just click in so you can see it again. So you're going to go to ACG Math Tutoring and then just take a look. But if you have questions, go ahead and DM me. I'll definitely answer your questions. Because it's early enough that you can always go in and be able to pick things up. But I will be officially closing it out by the 21st of this month. Okay, that's when I'm going to officially close it out. Okay. So you can divide by that. Yes, you could. Okay, coming late. April, yes, you could. You can divide by it and then divide by 3. So because the test, that's kind of extra steps, and you don't want to waste too much time. So that's the reason why, since it's already on one side and I need to combine them anyway, might as well multiply them first. And then after I multiply them, then I go ahead and divide. Okay, so at least I can kind of cut that steps so I can save some of that time. All right. Little Joe. Okay, not a problem. Was there a fight going on in there? It's like we got a little battle with Michael and Lynette. You guys gonna throw hands or what? So basically we were doing, I think it was Little Joe. So Little Joe, we were doing like simple interest. So it's taking your principal times your rate times your time. So what you can do in this case, they told us what the total value is. So if the total value was $7,162.30, that means that includes the interest. So what you could do is you're going to subtract the total by the interest or by the principal so you can get your interest, the interest amount. So that is what we used here to start the process. Rewrote the principal, and they said determine the interest rate. So the interest rate is our R. And the amount of years that they're talking about is 3 years. So then this is what April was saying. Well, could you divide the 6,200 on both sides and then divide by 3? You can. But I'm looking at it as a test-taking strategy. Why not save a little time by multiplying these two? That's where the 20,100 came from. And then divide both sides by the 20,100. So now you're looking at it as almost a 2-step instead of a multi-step. Okay, makes sense? All right, cool. All right, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Using an abacus. Guys are ridiculous. Anyway. All right, last problem, and then we're going to sum it up. I know. Today, I've been surrounded by gas fumes all day, and I'm surprised my butt is still alive. Here we are. Yeah, craziness. All right, so we have $10,000 is invested into an account that pays 4.1%. Simple interest. I wish we can get that nowadays. For 30 months. Okay, determine the total value of the account. So again, they're giving us the principal. So the principal is that 10,000. They're giving us the interest, which is at 4.1%, but they're giving us in terms of months. Now, your time is always reflected in years. So when we do this, again, you have your I. That was a habit. That was interesting. Reaching for our pencil. All right. So our starting amount is going to be that 10,000. Now, what is my rate as a true decimal? I think Alan's got it. Trying to backtrack learning. You have kids to teach now? Yes. Your own kids, or are you tutoring? Okay, good. 0.041. Good. Good. There you go, Lynette. All right, so all we did was move that decimal place over 2 slots. So 0.041. Okay, but now we're dealing with months. Yep, today was the first day. It was actually pretty cool. I think a couple people, I don't know what happened. But tomorrow is going to be the next day. Tomorrow is going to be really busy. A lot of people signed up for tomorrow. So I'm excited. Love teaching people. All right. Yes. Good, Alan. There we go. And I think someone else had it as well. But your pay grade. Okay. So since we're talking about months, all right, I'm not to insult your intelligence, but I have to ask you this question. How many months are in a year? I know. I don't want to insult you. I just really want, like, how many months are in a year? No, it's really not a trick question. All right, little Joe. I know. I didn't mean to insult anybody. Yes, thank you. 12. Okay? So if they're trying to get 30 months, what we could do, and I think it was Jewel that asked me this question. So we can take this 30 and divide it by 12 to figure out how much would it be, or how many years would that be. Okay, so we all know that 2 12s can easily go into 30, so it's definitely a little bit over 2 years. So if they did give us access to a calculator, which we're going to do, because most of the numbers, if they do give you on the GED or the ACE, they always give you a number that is easily divisible by 12. So they may say 24 months. They may actually say half a year. They may say 36 months. Okay, they might say 72 months. Okay, it's always going to be something that's divisible by 2. The same thing for weeks, but the weeks were very rare. Very rare. But if they don't do it in years, they always do it in months. Okay? Okay. So, when you have your 30 divided by 12, the last time you checked, okay, we got 12.5. 2.5. There we go. So now we have our 10,000 times 2.5. If you want to do it that way, you can. So that will give us our... And since it's all multiplication, I can always jump from n. I can multiply n to n. And then I'm going to multiply by 0.041. Okay? I just basically always like to multiply what I know. That's just, sometimes that's what I do. Now, I got 1,025. Okay. This will be on the GED? Yes. And the thing is, like I said, if they do use months, they usually use a month that's divisible by 2. And then the rates, usually it's like a whole number. Not too often do I see decimals. And if it's decimal, it's usually something that's easily divisible. Hey! One of my former students is in here. Look at you. How are you? Okay. Oh my, yes. Now, we found the interest, though. They asked for the total value of the account. What do we have to do? I know, right? I'm crazy as usual. I'm just crazy. So if we found the interest and we need the total value, what should we do? Good. You changed your name? Did I change my name? I don't think I did. Is it changed? I think the one thing that I did change is now I got a TikTok shop. Okay, yeah, so we gotta add. All this, I need a refresher. Okay, we gotta add the 10,000. Good. We gotta add the 1,025 to the 10,000. Yes. All right, so let's add it to the 10,000 because they say total. So that means we have 11,025 dollars. That's the total. All right. Good. Yeah. I finally took the plunge. I've been hesitating about it for a long time. And then every time I tried to put it together, then I got distracted with something. Then I tried to go back and they said I have a violation. I'm like, okay. Yes. So we're trying it out. So if anything, since we have a couple, actually we got 3 of people that I would love for you guys to follow that is in the chat right now. As soon as I can find my papers. This is what happens when you clean your desks off. Okay. So that's basically what I'm dealing with. So right now, let me unzoom so you can take a quick snap. So if you're doing anything with nursing, especially your diagnosis, your dosage mathematics, dosage calculations, and you need help with that, make sure you follow a Blessed RN. She's in the chat right now. Then we have the T's, ASVAB, and GED. So if you want someone else to kind of like help you with those things, maybe someone during the day, you also have Impact Math 19. If you're looking for a chemistry tutor, Professor TK, she's awesome. Then we have Lynette, who's fighting with Michael, who's fighting with Lynette, and they're about to duke it out. So she does learning using abacus. So basically adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, okay, getting the essentials of mathematics by use of an abacus. Then also, if you have a little kiddo, kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, that you're thinking about homeschooling, or you just need some assistance with some resources, make sure you follow my girl Nancy. Her login name is Online Elementary Tutor. And then the guy is here. Yes, Robert, the AP math guy. So if you're thinking about going into AP, okay, for next year, or if you know someone that maybe your child is going into it, AP Calc, AB or BC, doesn't matter, AP Statistics, maybe even AP Pre-Calculus. That's a new thing. Trust me, that shocked the heck out of me. But Robert does it with ease. Easy peasy. Great personality, knows how to break down the concepts. So make sure you follow these guys, okay? Really would love for you guys to follow Robert so we can get him going live, because you guys are always asking me, hey, can you take the derivative? Hey, what's the integral? What's all of that? And that's not my jam. No. Robert, all the way. That's him. Okay? Yes, no problem. Those X's the other day. Yeah, Lisa, they caught me. Yep. I didn't get a foot talk, but lately I've been getting a lot of gymnastic stuff in my FYP. What's going on? I don't know what's happening, and I have not watched a gymnastics video, but I'm getting a lot of them. It's getting kind of crazy now. All right, but go ahead, give them a follow. And if you notice on the bottom, I am on TikTok. Yeah, TikTok shop. All right, so this is where you can get your math notebooks. And that's what I'm basically conducting all of my lives inside of my math notebook. So if you like it, like the organization, the use of the colors, okay, use of just regular paper, and I actually tape them in. Okay, and I'm using both sides of my notebook. So I just try to keep all my notes nice, neat, organized. So if I ever need to come across anything, let's say, for example, completing the square. So I have the formula for completing the square, and then I also write down the steps. So this will kind of help you to remember. You gotta, like when you start school next year, or maybe you're taking classes now, but when it comes to, and I'm hearing this a lot from my adult learners, that they never learned multiplication table. And I am serious when I told one of my clientels a couple days ago, actually, that what you need to do is to get yourself index cards. Okay, blank index cards, doesn't matter. I'm trying to find it. So like if, we'll just pretend that this is one of my index cards. So on the front of the index card, you're going to write, I don't know, 4 times 7, right? Then on the back of the card, you're going to write 28. So since we are a little more advanced, you can probably make one of these negative. And then on the back of it makes it a negative 28. But you need to create your own flashcards. That's the only way you're going to understand the multiplication. Because when you were growing up, I think we're probably roughly around the same age, we used to do the cadence in class. But they don't do the cadence in class anymore. So by you just going to a store, buying the already pre-made math notes and flashcards, that's not helping that part of your brain to make the association with the math. Because you got to remember, multiplication is just simply fast addition. So the faster you can understand these concepts, the better it's going to be for you. So once you create your cards, you can make them multiple, same sign, different signs, whatever. You're going to take 10 minutes a day. No longer than 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes a day doing the flashcards. So say one day, okay, this one I got, but this one I didn't get. Then all of a sudden you take the ones that you got, put that to the side, and then take a look at the ones you didn't get. Then you mix them up. Then you're like, okay, I got this one. I still didn't get this one. But the pile is getting smaller for the ones that you didn't get, the ones you didn't understand. So now you're going to understand, do a little more studying, then you're going to mix them up again. And before you know it, this is how you know you're progressing. If the piles that you know is bigger and there's nothing left for the piles that you don't know, that's how you know you're advancing. Okay? So we have to bring back these old school tactics of flashcards. And you can buy index cards if you want to get pieces of copy paper and fold them and make them into cards. You can do that. I don't know what your financial situation is. Do what you got to do, boo-boo, because you really need to understand your multiplication before anything. Because it's hard for you to do advanced work. It's hard for you to do college work if you don't understand your multiplication tables. Okay? Set out of love. What's that? Not your jam. Oh, that's okay. No problem. All right. So if there's any questions, oh, thank you for the sunshine. If there's any questions whatsoever, like if you want to have questions about the book, if you have questions about the course that I'm doing, today was the first day, but guess what? As I said, I'm officially closing the doors, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So yeah, you'll be missing like 4 sessions, but there are replays, okay? So I can definitely show you what you're missing. If you have questions and you're like, Audrey, I don't have the money, I don't have that full amount, well, guess what? Call me, talk to me, message me, because I do payment plans. Because I understand it's the summer. This is something that just popped up. You probably already had your money planned out and everything's down to a T. Okay, so you don't know what's going to happen unless you ask. Let's put it that way. Okay, you never know. All right, so definitely give me a follow, message me, DM me. Or if anything, you can message, just click on my website, and then we'll take it from there. All right? All right. So, yeah, I'm done. I'm tired. I need rest. All right. So, if anything, I will see you guys tomorrow, which we're going to do a little bit more with interest. So we're going to be looking at exponential growth and decay, because that's going to help us a little bit with the compound interest, like the setup of the equation, how is it working, how do you tell, all that. Okay? All right. No, you're going to, what I need to be, I can't stress it enough. Oh, thank you. Yes, you don't have to. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys for coming in and just supporting me. I really, really do. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a lovely night and keep being awesome. Love you. Bye.